Hello, thank you for attending my presentation about the downfall of Sykkuno, the beloved streamer. The legendary downfall. Picture this, the year is 2020. The world is stuck inside, morale is low, and suddenly out of the digital world steps a man. A man who covers his mouth when he laughs, can't look directly at a webcam, and sounds like a wholesome anime protagonist who accidentally wandered into a lobby full of toxic gamers. This was Sykkuno. He was the internet's collective comfort character, the undisputed king of being just a awkward little guy, and the only streamer alive who could maintain a completely drama-free record while playing games about literal betrayal. For years, Sykkuno's brand was pure, unadulterated innocence. He was the guy who just wanted to pay his water bill, accidentally fell into a massive circle of streaming royalty, and somehow became everyone's favorite friend. While other creators were getting cancelled left and right for typical internet shenanigans, Sykkuno was busy being polite to NPCs and blushing whenever a girl spoke to him. He was untouchable, wrapped in a protective blanket of pure vibes and fiercely loyal fans who would genuinely go to war for him. But as the great internet philosophers always say, the bigger the anime arc, the harder the plot twist. How does a creator go from being the most universally beloved, conflict-avoidant sweetheart on Twitch and YouTube to the subject of a video titled The Downfall? Grab your popcorn because today we are diving into how the quietest guy in the room found himself at the center of the storm. And trust me, it's not just because he finally paid that water bill. The wholesome shy boy. Before we talk further, let's travel back to the golden era of Among Us when Sykkuno's wholesome power was at its absolute peak. If you looked up golden retriever energy in the streamer dictionary, you'd just see a picture of this man covering his face. His entire brand was built on being the ultimate shy guy. While everyone else was screaming at each other, accusing their friends of murder, Sykkuno was just wandering around the spaceship, stuttering out things like, "Oh gosh, I'm just a shy and honest boy, I don't think I could ever imposter anyone." And the wildest part, it worked every single time. He was the innocent lamb in a den of wolves, and the internet absolutely ate it up. Because of this, fans didn't just watch Sykkuno, they adored him with the intensity of 1,000 suns. He was the internet's collective younger brother, and a massive, fiercely loyal community formed overnight just to shower him with love. His signature moves became legendary memes: the classic hand-over-the-mouth giggle, the panicked eye contact with the camera, and his infamous obsession with paying his water bill. Despite pulling in tens of thousands of viewers, he acted like he was one bad stream away from having his utilities shut off, and fans found it so incredibly endearing they wanted to protect him at all costs. And when I say protect, I mean his fan base became a literal online military defense force. If another streamer even breathed aggressively in Sykkuno's direction or made a joke that was slightly too harsh, the Sykkuno Defense Squad would mobilize instantly on Twitter and TikTok to shut it down. Big-name creators like Valkyrie and Disguised Toast basically adopted him, but it was the fans who formed an impenetrable shield around him. For a long time, he was the untouchable, stuttering golden boy of the streaming world, heavily guarded by millions of people who swore nothing bad would ever happen to him. The transition. Every great empire has its turning point, and for Sykkuno, that turning point was a giant bag of corporate cash and a hilariously misspelled email. In May 2022, right at the tail end of his peak hype, Sykkuno dropped a bombshell. He was taking his wholesome talents exclusively to YouTube gaming. He claimed Twitch insulted him by spelling his name Sykkuno in an official contract email. But let's be real, the massive life-changing YouTube bag probably helped heal that emotional damage. It seemed like a win, but moving an audience from the comfortable purple land of Twitch to the wild west of YouTube live streaming is like trying to migrate a flock of birds through a hurricane. The immediate result? The hype got massively diluted. Twitch viewers are notoriously lazy, they don't want to change apps, they miss their custom emotes, and YouTube's live interface at the time felt like trying to watch a video in a crowded basement. Overnight, Sykkuno's average viewership plummeted from a staggering 20,000 concurrent viewers down to around 9,000. Half of the Sykkuno Defense Squad simply didn't make the trip. He was no longer the main character on your Twitch sidebar. He was tucked away on a completely different website, effectively removing him from the daily mainstream streamer ecosystem. Fast forward to May 2024, his YouTube contract expired, and Sykkuno pulled a classic "just kidding" and quietly migrated back to Twitch. He missed his animated emotes, he missed the platform culture, and his first stream back actually pulled in a nostalgic 27,000 viewers. But the damage to his long-term momentum was already done. Passing your community back and forth between two rival platforms like a hot potato completely fractured his core fanbase. He wasn't the untouchable titan of the streaming world anymore. He was a legacy creator trying to rebuild a house using broken bricks. The The golden era was officially over and the slow bleed of relevancy had begun. The first crack. Alright, now let's talk about the moment the wholesome armor cracked, and the internet did what the internet does best, completely lost its collective mind. For years, Sykkuno's entire brand was built on being the ultimate single, awkward gamer boy who would practically dissolve into a puddle of blush if a woman even looked in his direction. Fans adored this. It created this parasocial fantasy where he was just too innocent for romance, completely obsessed with nothing but his video games and that legendary water bill. But turns out, while the internet was busy treating him like a fragile anime protagonist who needed protection, Sykkuno was living a totally normal adult life, complete with a long-term, secret relationship. When rumors and evidence started circulating that he wasn't actually a chronically single hermit, the backlash from a specific, hyper-obsessed corner of his fanbase was immediate. People felt betrayed, which is hilarious because he's a grown man, but parasocial relationships are a hell of a drug. The problem wasn't that he was dating, the problem was the contrast. Fans started looking back at years of streams and feeling like the shy boy who doesn't understand girls' routine was a heavily curated, manufactured character designed to keep them emotionally invested. The untouchable golden boy suddenly looked a lot like every other calculated influencer on the internet. This was the first major blow to his community's trust, and it officially broke the spell. You can survive a drop in viewership from changing streaming platforms, but it is way harder to recover when the core fantasy of your brand gets exposed. The fiercely loyal Sykkuno defense squad suddenly found themselves arguing in Reddit threads instead of clipping cute moments. The illusion of the completely transparent, innocent streamer was gone, proving that the bigger the parasocial pedestal you're put on, the harder the fall when real life catches up. The breaking point. If the previous slide was a crack in the armor, April 2026 was the moment the entire fortress was hit by a wrecking ball. The internet's collective jaw hit the floor when a massive, receipts-backed exposé document dropped out of nowhere. The allegations weren't just about him secretly having a girlfriend since 2021, they claimed he was living a double life as a serial cheater. Multiple smaller female content creators came forward, alleging that he used his massive platform, love-bombing tactics, and offers to fund lavish trips to Paris and TwitchCon to manipulate them, all while swearing up and down that he was totally single. The shy little guy who just wants to pay his water bill narrative didn't just leak, it completely exploded. The fallout in the streaming community was immediate, public, and hilariously messy. Sykkuno's inner circle of creator friends essentially splintered overnight on live television. Valkyrie went on stream expressing major disappointment, and admitted she had no idea about his multi-year secret relationship, while Disguised Toast dropped cryptic tweets calling out friends for abandoning him, which prompted creators like Jason Thuin to jump in with even wilder, unhinged claims. To make matters more chaotic, a fake Instagram apology went viral where Sykkuno allegedly wrote "sorry not sorry," forcing community notes to work overtime while fans were actively losing their minds trying to figure out what was real. The chaos finally reached its peak when Sykkuno and his girlfriend released a joint public statement on X. He officially admitted to the infidelity, apologized for lying to people about being single, and announced he was taking an indefinite break from streaming to try and rebuild his relationship privately. The wildest plot twist of the whole saga. His girlfriend decided to stay with him, leaving the internet deeply confused, intensely divided, and flooded with memes about how his real life had somehow surpassed an anime plotline. The aftermath. And just like that, the anime intro music stopped playing. After he flat-out admitted to the infidelity, confessing that he had been unfaithful and had spent years actively lying to people by telling them he was single. It was a massive, direct apology to his fans for the years of manufactured misrepresentation, but let's be real, the most mind-boggling part of the entire document wasn't even his confession. It was his girlfriend's section where she revealed she already knew about the drama and was still choosing to stay and work on the relationship. The internet's collective brain completely blown. While the comment section was busy debating whether this was a real-life soap opera or if Sykkuno just had ungodly levels of riz, the man himself announced he was vanishing from the internet entirely. No hype streams, no cozy gaming lobbies, no hand-over-mouth giggles. He stated he was stepping away from streaming and social media indefinitely to handle his personal affairs, focus on personal growth, and attempt to rebuild the massive crater of trust left in his relationship away from the public eye. This wasn't just a standard 2-week PR break, it was a total digital ghosting. For a creator whose entire career depended on being live in front of tens of thousands of people every single day, hitting the deactivate button on his public persona was the ultimate final curtain. He went from the protected, unhateable golden boy of the internet to completely radio silent in a matter of days. The exit was absolute, leaving the streaming world a little less wholesome, a lot more skeptical, and permanently wondering if the shy gamer boy archetype was ever actually real. Conclusion. So what is the ultimate moral of this incredibly chaotic story? It's that building your entire career on being a hyper-wholesome, innocent little angel is basically like building a mansion out of wet tissue paper. In the modern streaming world, the pure vibe brand is the highest reward strategy, but it carries the absolute highest risk. When your audience expects you to be a flawless, stuttering anime protagonist who doesn't understand how girls work, you leave yourself exactly zero margin for error. The second you do something even mildly messy, let alone drop a multi-year double-life cheating scandal, the entire pedestal crumbles into dust. The internet absolutely loves a paradox, and Sykkuno's downfall proved that the characters we create in our heads for these influencers are rarely real. It turns out that a grown adult man making millions of dollars living in Las Vegas might actually behave like a grown adult man living in Las Vegas, rather than a fragile cartoon character who needs a community defense force to protect his feelings. The lesson here isn't that streamers shouldn't be nice, it's that creating an untouchable, drama-free illusion is a ticking time bomb. The internet will always eventually trade its halos for pitchforks when the curtain gets pulled back. Ultimately, Sykkuno's legacy is a cautionary tale for the next generation of content creators. If you're going to sell innocence, you better make sure you don't get caught being human. His sudden exit left a permanent scar on the wholesome gamer genre, making audiences way more skeptical of the next shy creator who covers their mouth when they laugh. The golden boy might be gone, but his story stands as a hilarious, tragic reminder that on the internet, the bigger the saint you play, the bigger the sinner you become when the Google Doc finally drops.